Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pradeep Krishnan. I'm an airline pilot. I'd like to thank TEDx and JMC for giving me this opportunity. And I also like to thank those of you who've come here to see me. Maybe you know me, maybe you don't, but thank you for the next 15 minutes regardless. And today I'm going to be talking about why it's okay when you're told you can't do it. To begin with, I'm sure most of us in this room at some point has been told this, and I'm sure most of you also have a winning. I'm just so glad that I've been given to talk about my wins, big or small. Maybe my life experiences could give you a different perspective. I'm going to share a few instances where I have been told that you can't do it and how did I get it done. So let me take you back to my school. I studied in a very good school, but I couldn't speak in English at all. I was quite bad. There was this one time in my school where I was asked to speak in front of my class, and the topic given to me was cricket. I could have said anything under the sun. I could have said bat, ball, Sachin. I chose to word vomit. I used the word stems instead of stumps. My entire class started laughing, and I had no clue as to why they were laughing, because in my head, stems was right. That's how we used to pronounce it while playing gully cricket. And it's funny how you're allowed to make mistakes in your regional or local language, but when you make a mistake speaking in English, you're judged. This friend of mine passed a comment in front of the class saying, "You can't even speak in English, how would you become a pilot?" Believe me, when I say this, everybody in my school knew I wanted to be a pilot. I used to ride a TVS 50 back then. Along with my number plate, it had a big solid pilot written on it. My school bag had a pilot written on it. My email ID had a pilot on it. So my entire school knew that I wanted to be a pilot. When it really hit me is when my English teacher told me that if you're really considering becoming a pilot, you need to get better or you just can't do it. And I really wanted to get better. I even considered memorizing the dictionary. I come from state board, quite good at mugging. But obviously it was impossible. Visual media has always appealed to me. I figured the only way I can improve is by watching English movies with subtitles. I used to watch at least one film a day with subtitles on. I wasn't bothered about who was acting, what the storyline was. I wasn't even watching the top half of the screen. I was only bothered about the subtitles. I kept doing it consistently, and guess what? I actually got better. Here I am standing in front of you at a TEDx event, speaking to you purely in English. If I have to go back to that classroom and anybody had to pick one guy from that classroom for a TEDx event, nobody would have picked Pradeep Krishnan, not even Pradeep Krishnan. Let me take you back to my flight school days. This is the first ever aircraft I flew. It's Zulu Sierra Uniform Yankee Sierra. I was 17 and a half years old when I went to South Africa to do my commercial pilot training license. You're supposed to fly 200 hours on these little aircrafts in order to get a commercial pilot license. After my second or third sortie, I had a South African instructor who was rather very strict. I think it was my third sortie. We were walking from this aircraft to the hangar. He just looked at me and he said, "Pradeep, I don't think you can fly. I don't think you have it in you. You're just burning your parents' money. I think you should go back home." He was a strict guy. I don't know if he was trying the tough love. I don't know what he was trying, but he meant it. I just stood there. I apologized. I went back home. 15-20 minutes later, me and my friends, we walked to the gaming center nearby. I bought myself a $20 joystick. I installed Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I started flying it religiously. South Africa sometimes has bad weather, due to which you don't fly for like 6 or 7 days put together. So I used those 6 to 7 days to just sit and fly day in and day out. See, the joystick and the real aircraft has no connection whatsoever. The feel is not the same. But what actually started happening was the fact that I was getting confident playing the game. And I started telling myself that I am getting better and I can do it. When I actually reached the aircraft, I could see myself perform really well. My flying improved by leaps and bounds. In fact, I even participated in a couple of spot landing competitions after that and won. Just when my flying was getting better, I met with this really bad bike accident in South Africa. The South African cops were chasing the bad guys, and this poor little Tamil boy was collateral damage. I met with this very bad bike accident, due to which I broke my leg, I broke my hand, I lost an eyebrow. The right side of my face was completely scarred. I was medically unfit because we're expected to be medically fit to fly. And after this accident, I had to go submit my documents, and I was medically unfit. And everybody around me, like I mentioned earlier, said, I don't think this is going to happen. I think we should probably leave, go back home, recover and come back. My South African doctor, she told me, I think you should quit. You should go back home and maybe try after a couple of years. But I didn't want to leave. Because if I had called up my parents back then and told them I was probably 18 years old then, told them I met with an accident, that was the end of my career. They would ask me to come back for good. I stayed back in South Africa. I did whatever I could staying on ground. I cleared all my examinations. I took my physiotherapy very, very seriously. And I finally cleared my medicals. You need a lot of support to become a pilot. First, you need a lot of financial support. Believe me, you need a lot of support from your friends. You need a lot of support from your family. But me, I would have definitely not become a commercial pilot without this. Let me show you what that is. So this is called a shoehorn. It's what you use to slip on. So this really helped me with the residual pain that I had from the accident. This actually found the perfect balance or the perfect angle where I could wear it on my right foot and it wouldn't hurt anymore. So I would have definitely not finished my flying without this. I flew with this for 180 hours. It's just 20 hours short of becoming a commercial pilot. It was me the whole time. I still carry this with me on my flight back. So after all of this drama, after all of this struggle, I came back to India and I was unemployed for almost 9 years. I couldn't find myself a job. Do you guys know how it feels to be 27 with no job? First of all, I understand that. With no job, with no money, with a heavy bank loan, and all the time in the world. It feels terrible. And these are your prime years of life, right? It was not only me, at least 3,000 to 4,000 pilots like me waiting in their wings to get a job back home in India. None of us could manage to get a job. Because there were so many unemployed pilots, there was also heavy competition. We used to have one vacancy and some 400 people applying. It was a very difficult time. I was expected to study 6 to 7 hours a day, minimum, not even knowing when an interview or an airline exam is coming. And I tried. I genuinely tried. It was getting hard. Then I decided to start taking classes. I set up a free class in my house in Chennai. I used to teach for free. I figured that's the only way to stay relevant and current. And finally, the current airline that I'm working for right now, they came up with a pan-India opening. And thousands of people applied. They selected a few and I was one amongst them. Whenever you hear a negative comment, try to remove the emotional response out of it. Try to analyze if there's any truth in what is being said. It's all about taking that negative comment internally, processing it, and how you deal with it, right? If you ask me, I'd say a negative comment is way more powerful than a positive comment. A positive comment might just let you plateau, where a negative comment can actually help you propel forward. I'm going to give you a bare minimum example. I've been working out for the last 15 years and I wanted to look a certain way, and I also have my pilot medicals where I'm expected to be fit. There's this one time I was working out in the gym, and I had a friend of mine walk past me and he told me, "You've been working out for so many years, why do you still have a tummy?" And I told him, it's given the nature of my job, to continuously go to the gym is no mean feat. It's quite hard, We sometimes fly all through the night, we fly all through the day. It can get a little difficult to be a little disciplined and show up to the gym. It requires a lot of dedication. I was explaining the same to him, and I took a picture of how I'd like to look. I showed it to him, and I was like, you know what? Ideally, this is how I'd like to look. He just looked me in the eye, and he said, I don't think you'll ever be able to get there. I don't think it's possible, based on what you just told me, and I don't think it's possible for you to ever get that body. This is me just 86 days later. See, I'm not trying to flex. Thank you. See, I'm not trying to flex, right? What I'm trying to tell you is, so for 4,380 days, I couldn't do jack squat, pun intended. I looked a certain way, right? All it took is just one negative comment for me to get here. I wish it had come to me sooner. See, you will always have people come and tell you, you can't do it. Okay? It may be your family, your friends, your neighbors, specifically these aunties. You will always have these people come and tell you, you can't do it. I'll tell you who the biggest naysayer is. That naysayer lives in your mind and that voice that you hear in your head that tells you that you can't do it. How many of you here have done bungee jumping? So you guys will definitely be able to relate with me. Alright, when you're about to do bungee jumping, right, let's consider this is the cliff. You go stand there at the end of the cliff. You're looking down. 2 seconds before you jump, you'll have that voice pop up, isn't it? It'll give you 150 reasons. It'll tell you why you shouldn't jump. It'll tell you, what if the rope snaps? What if I break my leg? What if I break my hand? What if I die? Right? But the minute you cut that voice and take that leap, the sense of euphoria that you feel is priceless. I can't even put it in words. Imagine if you can cut that voice every single time in your day-to-day life. Maybe that's the voice that's stopping you from getting a new job. Maybe that's the voice that's stopping you from going and saying hi to a cute girl or a guy. Maybe that's the voice that's stopping you from moving to a new city. Maybe that's the voice that's stopping you from posting a reel on Instagram. Just imagine if you can cut that voice out. So to summarize, see, I used movies as a catalyst to get better at speaking in English. And I used a $20 joystick as a catalyst to get better at flying. And I used teaching as a catalyst to get better, to get the job of my dreams. So find your catalyst, and it's okay for people to come and tell you can't do it, but you just don't tell yourself that. Had I told myself that, this wouldn't have happened. This is a small video clip that I want you guys to see.
I have a special announcement to make. For pilot apart from the hard work and the expenses and the countless hours of studying that we have to do, you really need a family that supports you. Very happy to announce that I have my family traveling with me today. Tata, Party, Amma, 29 roll உட்காந்துருக்காங்க. இன்னைக்கு நான் தான் அவங்க கேப்டன் நமக்கு தெரியாது. என் தாத்தா இதான் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் என்னோட ஃப்ளைட்ல டிராவல் பண்றாரு. எங்க இருக்கீங்க? தாத்தாவோட நிறைய வாட்டி TEDxJMC உட்காந்து நான் போயிருக்கேன். Today it's his turn to fly with me today. Thank you. All of you can just say hi to him. He's right there. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope all of you have a comfortable time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.